I'm your huckleberry.
This is the Smoking Guns Podcast.
No G, with the Z, POD, Smoking Guns Podcast, back with you on a Monday night, a conflicted Monday night. We are a podcast that deals with football in San Antonio. We're wishing today that we dealt with all sports in San Antonio because we'd have fun stuff to talk about. But football in San Antonio around the San Antonio Gunslingers, the 3-5 San Antonio Gunslingers of the Indoor Football League. I am Philip Higginbotham, one of your hosts. I'm joined, as always, by my buddy over here, Leo Yamas.
What's up, Smoking Guns Posse? Happy Memorial Day, by the way.
And we are missing R.C. Woods as she is out ill today. She texted us about an hour ago and said, I just can't do it. She would be here if she could. We all know R.C. very well. I already have folks checking in. Josh is checking in. Hi, guys. Hi, Josh. Thanks for all the work you do on the chain crew.
Yeah, saw Josh on Saturday.
Chase Risman also checking in. The Gunslingers have an I-35 rival again. Well, they're supposed to. Welcome to the IFL, Austin. We're going to talk a little bit about that because that was announced yesterday in part of the absolutely horrendous, that's right, I'm going to say it, horrendous decision the IFL had to play football games in a mall and call it the IFL Cup. You may have gotten a little bit of a taste of two of the best teams in the league, however, as they played against each other, and Vegas comes out over Arizona in the IFL Cup, and they win a big shiny trophy. That's it. That's all they get. And so I don't understand what this whole midseason tournament is. But it is what it is. The IFL has done something, and you know what? They tried it, and I don't think it was particularly great. So maybe they retool and think of another way to do that. I don't know.
I mean, any exposure for a league like the IFL is good, but it is a bit gimmicky, and I think maybe cheapens the product a little bit in certain people's view, especially in a mall. That's just bizarre.
It is. I'm not a fan of the mid-season tournament either. I know the NBA has recently grabbed onto this. I know that this is a European sort of thing that they do a lot in soccer and rugby. Soccer. That's soccer and rugby together. We don't call it football. We call it soccer. No, soccer and rugby is my understanding. The mid-season tournament is a big deal. And so we're trying to latch on to that somehow. The NBA started with it. Now the IFL is like, hey, let's do that too. I don't know. I just don't understand why these four teams were chosen. I don't understand the location. I don't understand a lot about this. And I think it was a dud this time out, although we did get one really good football game between two very good teams. But you could just schedule that. Like Arizona and Vegas are going to be good teams. You could have just scheduled it. You didn't need to play this magical tournament in a mall, players scoring touchdowns and running over to the food court and
that was getting. I did enjoy that.
I mean, if you're playing in a mall anyway, you might as well have.
May as well, right? Go get yourself a smoothie after you run back a kickoff. Sure.
Yeah. So not my favorite thing. Chase Risman jumping in and saying East Rutherford, New Jersey. It's supposedly, I love that word. That word's doing a lot of lifting in the Senate. Getting an IFL team. Hope it's at the Meadowlands because it won't work at the Rock. And then he throws out a Go Devils, boo the New Jersey Devils. No, I don't hate the New Jersey Devils. They did keep my Stars from winning a cup back in 2000. Not my favorite memory about soccer. Hockey. That's hockey. Not soccer, not rugby, not soccer. That's hockey.
You're just inventing new sports today.
I'm all over the place today. Well, Leo, let's talk a little bit about The San Antonio Gunslingers, they welcome in the Tulsa Oilers for the second time. And this went worse. Like, this was worse. The first game was at least competitive. This was not competitive. This was bad.
I'll give you the only good news after that game. The only good news is that the Gunslingers are still in 4th place in the Western Conference and still 2 games ahead of their nearest competitor for that last playoff spot. But we don't look like a playoff. We don't look like anything near a playoff team at this point.
I will tell you that I fully expect the San Antonio Gunslingers, even if they do not get any better for the rest of the season, to make the playoffs. Because the way this division, the way this conference is set up, you have 3 decent teams, 2 really good teams, 1 decent team above us. You have 3 absolutely bottom-dwelling teams below us. We are not either of those things. We are somewhere in the middle. And so we will occupy that middle range, which means 3 above, 3 below. That 4th spot, that middle spot, is a playoff spot. And if we maintain exactly who we are right now, we make the playoffs. And if you're okay with, hey, we finally made the playoffs in the IFL, cool, good. Then you may get that this season.
You might. Yeah, we might get it.
I would like to get into the playoffs with a little bit of hope of doing something, making some sort of noise in the playoffs. Because the thing in the playoffs is, everybody has a chance at that point. You make it in, even if you squeak in, you make it in and you can do something. But right now, I don't know. I think we can make it in just based on the way our conference is set up, but I don't know that we can do anything. I don't know that we might be able to beat San Diego the way they're playing right now. If we had the game that we could put together, we might beat San Diego. I don't think we're beating Vegas.
No,
I'm not sure we're beating Arizona.
Vegas is a beast.
So,
yeah. Unfortunately, right now, consistently every week, the San Antonio Gunslingers are fielding half of a team. The defensive side of the team is what's going out there and competing every week. The offense has not been able to put it together. We talked early this season. Lots of new guys, rookies, getting a system under their belt, learning, but you expect to see improvement. And here we are, on our going into our 8th game, and that improvement just hasn't been there. And it comes to a point where hope turns into frustration, and frustration for some fans is starting to turn into something a little bit more than frustration, and it's hard to fault fans for feeling that way. You just don't see you don't see. I don't want to say effort, because I don't think it's an effort thing, but you don't see this offense coming together the way that Coach Bain and the entire organization envisioned at the beginning of the season, because there's talent on this team. There's enough talent to do much better than what they're doing. But for some reason, they just can't get it together. They had offensive line struggles early. The quarterback struggle has seemed to just, whether it's injury or just flat out, not delivering on the field, turning the ball over. That's been a huge thing these last few weeks, is turnovers, interceptions. You give him a pass last week because of the health situation, but this week, you assume anyways that Fred Payton Jr. is healthy going into this game and still making questionable decisions in his playmaking.
Yeah, at this point. And I hate to do this. I hate to be that guy.
Yeah.
I hate to point to one player and kind of put all this, or one position, and put all of this on one set of shoulders. But I got to tell you, watching the game in Tulsa, both live and then coming home and watching it on tape, we have a problem at quarterback. There's just no other way to say it. Joaquin Collazo might be the answer, but he's not well enough to do that right now. And even when he was in there, it was difficult. And Fred Payton, I want to like him. I think he's very athletic. I think he can do the job, but he is not doing the job.
Right.
And I'll break down a little bit what I'm seeing here in a few minutes. I got a whole list of about 3 drives in a row where I can point to and go, here's where we lost the game. And unfortunately, in that analysis, a lot of it is Fred Payton.
Mm.
And I don't like that. I don't like saying that. I usually like for the buck to stop at the coaching staff. I like to point to the coaches and go, hey, you got to do a better job getting these guys prepared. If they're athletic, if they're talented, if they're able, it's on you. But I got to tell you, Leo, I'm looking at the tape. I'm looking at what's there. And there are things there that are just not getting, you said it's not effort. I like that. I like that you said it's not effort because I don't think it's an effort problem. I think everybody is giving maximum effort, including Fred Payton. It is an execution problem. Mm-hmm. And Jonathan Bain has been saying that for weeks now. Like we had a 3-week run there where we went up against Tulsa, Northern Arizona, and we were able to feel pretty good about ourselves. But Chase says, what were Gunslingers fans saying after the game? Were they overreacting even though they're still 3-5 and in a playoff spot? Man, that's loaded. The way you ask that question is loaded. Are they overreacting? I don't think it's an overreaction to go, wow, we are not very good.
Yeah.
Wow, we are not really a playoff team. Even if we're in a playoff spot, we're not a playoff team. I don't think that's overreacting.
Yeah. If you're losing to teams that are, it's evident that they're just better than you on the field, then yeah, it would be an overreaction. It's a product of the schedule and it's a product of a young team learning. But when you're losing games to teams that are clearly not top tier teams and teams that you should be, that are beatable and you should be able to compete with, especially on your home field, then yeah, it's not, in that case, it's not an overreaction. And that's what we're seeing.
Yeah, and I think they can beat I think they should have beat San Diego last week. I think they should have beat Tulsa both times they played them.
Yep.
I think that we have potential to be a better team than both of those teams. And I realize San Diego is 6-2. But when we went out against them, we could have even records with them at, what was it, 4-3?
Yeah. Yep.
If we'd have been able to beat them. And that game, I'm pulling up the score so that I'll make sure I'm not talking out of my butt here. 48-36. It's 2 possessions. I think there was potential there. Now, that was the game that Fred Payton's sick and Joaquin has to come in and then he gets injured. So Fred Payton has to go back in and we don't really know that we have any quarterback at 100%. And so things happen.
Now, if Fred Payton wasn't healthy for this game either and was sick for this game, which I mean, I haven't heard any indication that he was.
Sure.
But there's nothing to lead us to believe that that was the case.
No.
But you know, who was QB2 for this game? Was that ever announced, or is there any information that we have on that? Because you figure if he was sick, there would be somebody there for that game. That was,
So Joaquin did not dress because he is still having some issues with tenderness in his back from that tackle again in the San Diego game.
Yeah, I talked to him after the game. Hope he gets better.
One quarterback. Yeah, absolutely. We want everybody to be healthy, including Joaquin. Yeah. We had one quarterback going into this game. My understanding is the emergency quarterback, if needed, was set to be, this is a rumor, I'm not telling anybody where I heard it from, it may not even be true, Glenn Gibbons would be the emergency quarterback if you only dress one and something happens to Fred Payton and he has to come out for a play or he gets a concussion and he's out for the game, whatever the case may be. My understanding is at that point, Glenn Gibbons is the next one. Which turns the position, if you ever watch high school football in Texas, there are quarterbacks in high school football in Texas, and then sometimes there's not a quarterback; it's an athlete. In fact, I've even started to see them listed this way as just the athlete. And they can throw, and they can run, and they can make people miss, and they're just very athletic. And so you take your most athletic guy you have, even though he's not really a traditional quarterback, and you put him in the back, and then you allow him to create, and it works. Lavernia, when I covered the Lavernia Bears in 2018, made it all the way to the state semifinal round with a guy that was not a traditional quarterback. He was just an athlete, but he was incredibly athletic, and he could throw, but he could also absolutely punish you with his feet and his just miracle plays. Some would even say that, like, we have that in the NFL. You see that in the NFL. I won't put Patrick Mahomes in that category, but some of those guys like RG3 would have been an athlete, not really a quarterback, just an athlete. Could throw, could make some things happen, but really he's just more of an athlete back there. So if Glenn Gibbons comes in, that's the kind of offensive style you're running, and you're just kind of running and gunning and doing what you can and seeing if you can catch lightning in a bottle and make things happen.
Interesting. Yeah.
Jason Wood said, speaking of rumors, I heard the team's up for sale. I hadn't heard that. The rumor in and of itself would not surprise me. I think I am one of those big believers that everything is for sale. Like,
sure,
it's just a matter of the price tag. It's a matter of what somebody's willing to pay for it. So, would Don listen to an offer that came along that helped him recoup some costs and somebody that was passionate about the Gunslingers? Yeah,
sure he would.
He would. I imagine he would.
I
haven't heard specific, team is up for sale kind of rumors now.
But on the business side, I mean, if there's anything to that rumor, I mean, the whole thing with the Austin getting a team in the league, I think is very good for the San Antonio Gunslingers and the IFL here in San Antonio. The continuation of the Gunslingers, having a team up in Austin, a rivalry, another game a year. That's a road game that is really
one.
Yeah, at least one, but probably more.
The past 2 years, I might be speaking out of my butt here. I'm not sure. Past 2 years, we have had 3 games on the schedule against Tulsa because they are the next closest team. The first year we were in the IFL, we did that with Frisco.
Yeah, where
we had 3 games against them. So if there is a team in Austin and San Antonio, I am willing to bet that we will have 3 games, and that swing game, that extra game, will flip back and forth between San Antonio and Austin. But the thing about it being in Austin is that Austin fans can come to San Antonio and watch those games, and San Antonio fans can go to Austin. We can't do that in Tulsa. Not in the same way. We couldn't even do that in Frisco. I talked to somebody earlier today, and they're like, well, we had that. We had a rivalry that was tailor-made with West Texas. No, we didn't. You're not driving out to Midland or wherever they were, and now that they've moved to Amarillo, like that's
a long drive.
But Austin is a different beast entirely, and that sets up very well for tickets on both sides of of San Marcos, both in the Austin side and the San Antonio side. Tickets are going to go for those games because, man, I'll drive up to Austin. That's nothing.
Yeah. No, it's great. It's great news for San Antonio IFL fans, Gunslinger fans. When that was announced, I was like, that's actually really huge for the Gunslingers.
Yeah, it is. I think it's great. I think it's a great way. Joshua saying it'll be a quick away game drive. Exactly. Exactly. And it will be a quick rivalry. I can already.
Oh yeah. We have the best tacos. Dang it. And we will prove that on the football field.
And it will not be the first time that the San Antonio Gunslingers have played a team from Austin. If you can tell me in the comments who The San Antonio Gunslingers have played before from Austin. What team? You get a pat on the back from me. Not you. Not you. Gotta be somebody that didn't call the games.
I have a really funny story about that, by the way, but I don't want to give it away since you're
somebody
making it a little
somebody
bit
will
of a
pop
fun.
up. I know there's some folks. Nobody. That's not true, Chase.
No,
you're wrong.
There was an
the
Austin
San Antonio
team.
Gunslingers have played a team from Austin. They played them twice or three times in the first season of existence in the AAL, the American Arena League. It was a joke of a league. It was barely professional football, but it was professional football. I'll always defend it. It was the year before they entered the NAL, and they did play a team from Austin.
Yeah. Somebody guess this so I can
Stop it, Chase.
Give
Chase
the
is
story.
like the AAL doesn't count. Nope.
It does. It's part of the team's
part
history.
Of the history.
Part of the organization's history. You can't discount it. You may as well just discount our podcast too, because we came, when we came on.
That's where we came from.
With the team. That's where we came on. So it counts.
If the AAL doesn't count, neither do the Decatur Staleys, sir. Well, he probably would be fine with that. I think he's a Green Bay Packers fan, so he's like, yeah, the Bears don't count either. That's not a thing either. No, you're right. He said, like you said, it was a joke of a league. I said that. The Jersey Flight was the only team worth watching. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think the San Antonio Gunslingers were worth watching. I watched all of those games. I had a great time. A lot of fun.
Nobody's guessing.
Nobody's guessing. We'll give it a few minutes and we'll let it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Austin's going to be great. I am cautiously optimistic. I love that the league has made an announcement. I have not seen many of the league's announcements end up getting backtracked or any of that kind of thing. Pamela Rackler, thank you.
Confirmation. Yes.
The Gunslingers are not for sale. Pamela Rackler says.
And that's great to hear, by the way.
She knows. So there you go. Confirmation right here. You heard it here first. That's why people watch Smoking Guns podcast right there. Because they want the information to come directly from the source. And while we would all love to, just give Don and Pam a call, we don't have their number, but we can get information pretty quickly right here on the Smoking Guns podcast. So there you go. Hi, look at that. Jason Wood, the Austin Wild. That's correct.
That is correct.
That is correct. It was the Austin Wild in the AAL. We played them twice or three times, Leo. They were all in San Antonio. They didn't have their own place to play up there.
No, I think it was twice. Yeah.
And we won both games, by the way.
We won both games. Yeah.
And you have a funny story. So now you can tell your funny story about the Austin Wild. I remember this story. I think I remember this story.
I do, because this was a new thing for San Antonio and everybody around here in indoor football. At the time we were playing at the Rose Palace over in going out towards Bernie, and I work out that way. And so I told a lot of my coworkers I was trying to gain interest from people at my work to come out and see the games, because they were in a barn and there was dust and everything and there was horses, but they were a lot of fun. But I mentioned the Austin Wild to, of all people, my compliance officer. He's the head of our compliance department and making sure that everything stays on the up and up. The company I work for is regulated by federal agencies because of the manner of business. And he goes immediately and looks up Austin Wild on his computer. Don't do that, because I don't know if this is still out there. I don't know if this is still out there, but it was not a football team. It was not a football team when his first search came up. It was something of the adult entertainment nature that had something to do with either someone with that name or some sort of business, adult themed entertainment business. And that's not exactly what you want coming up on your compliance officer's computer. So he was quick. He was quick to point the finger and say, "This is IT's fault. IT told me to go to this site." Okay, he was joking, but yeah, that was just that was interesting. That was funny. Austin
Yeah.
Wild. Yeah.
Those were interesting games. I remember fights in the stands between players and fans, if I remember correctly. Is that right, Leo? Do I remember that right? That was the Wild, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That was.
Yeah, the good old days. I like where we are a lot. Austin gone wild. Yeah, that's what it
Yeah.
turned into.
We had a
That's
team
what it
out in
turned
El
into.
Paso that were pirates and tried to do a makeshift uh field, if you remember. And I don't think they
Yeah.
ever the amount of games they managed to play was like one because it was deemed unsafe. Concrete
Yeah.
barriers and stuff like that.
Yeah, they had
Yeah.
like posts directly on the not on the field, but right along the sideline. You know where
Mhm.
guys get run into the wall and stuff. There were
Yeah.
iron steel posts in there. Like don't get me wrong. When Chase mentions that it was a joke of a league, like I agree. It's still part of our history. It's still
It
part
is.
of San Antonio. I don't want to discount it, but yeah, it was whew, it
And we
was
still have fans. We still have a fan base. We have fans that were, going to those games at the Rose Palace and following since season one. So we definitely appreciate all that time and effort, and appreciate the OG3 for getting the
yeah.
start, because
Yep.
there would be nothing without their efforts.
Austin Chase says, will IFL Austin play at the Moody Center? Man, I'm sure they've got a plan. I'm sure they've got an idea of what they want to do. I am also sure they have not told us
Yeah.
what that is or what that's going to be. So I'm not sure. And then I was just thinking about this too.
Mm.
Raul Nava is how about the Mississippi trip? You know, I was just thinking about that the other day, Leo. Leo and I and Jonas, who did a lot of stuff with us in our show back in the day, back in that day, and ran like he made the stream go that we put together for the Gunslingers their first season. You can still go find them on YouTube. I went and found them the other day. And see the stream that we put up on YouTube for live streaming the games. We rode on the team bus out to Mississippi. It was it was one of two road games the entire year that we had. The other one was in North Texas, the West Championship game or whatever it was.
Mm.
But we rode out there on the bus. That was nuts. That was
I think I felt like we almost died twice on that trip.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely did. Like certainly did.
Yeah,
well, the Austin Wild, and if you search that on your internet browser there, you're gonna get some adult themed stuff. But you know what's family themed is Gunslingers games. And I got to put that to the test this weekend because I brought Caleb. Caleb is 2. And he can tell you that. He can tell you he's 2. Caleb, how old are you? 2. He can tell you 2. And he had a great time. I'm going to put up some pictures because I love that this was our time. He got a football. Thank you, Steve Cantu, for giving Caleb a ball that came over the wall. And Steve got his hands on it. And Caleb got the ball. I will tell you, Caleb has not gone anywhere without this ball since we got home. He comes home. He stays at home. He doesn't take it out with him. He didn't take it to church on Sunday, but when he comes home, he finds his ball. He carries it around all the time. He loves his ball. He got a jersey. And he's kind of doing a guns up thing there. He's trying to do some guns up there. Like I say, he was given this ball and he was super excited about it. And he even was reading his program, very intently reading the program there. He had a great time. We had a great time with him. It's the only time I've been a lot more nervous about being down on the wall.
Yeah, Yeah.
We have to stand, so you had to hold him the whole time, or you had to stand on a chair or stand on the table, and being down on the wall. If we'd have been up in the seats, I think he would have been a little easier to wrangle, and my arms wouldn't have gotten tired. Courtney's arms, Courtney, my daughter, his mom brought him with us. But just look, he's having a great time. He had a blast.
He did.
He loves his baseball. He calls it a baseball, and I have to remind him that it's football, and then he goes football. But he was having a great time. It was a lot of fun. But I'll tell you what, as fun as he thought the game was, part of me did not have the same kind of fun, Leo.
Oh man, no. Let me tell you, I joked with you, but I was being serious. I forgot to take my blood pressure medicine that day, and that game was not helping. I was like, oh my God, of all days, I forget to take my blood pressure meds. Like, this is not the day to do this, because, yeah, we were not happy in the stands with that performance. Unfortunately, I remember talking. We were concerned that the game was decided by halftime. The way things were going.
Yeah, there is a series of events. I'm going to kind of start unfolding this right now. Chase, keep waiting. I think I've said all I'm going to say about it. You got the most ranty part of my rant that you're going to get. He's waiting for a rant on the IFL Cup. He can't wait to hear it. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't think there's a need for it. I don't know why we did it in a mall. That's it. I mean, that's all I have to say about it, really.
The mall was weird.
The mall was weird. The picking the 4 teams that they picked was weird. Seemed like it was set up perfectly for Arizona and Vegas to go head-to-head to win this made-up trophy. And that's what they got. And it was a great game. I'm not taking anything away from that game, but just schedule it. If you want that game, just schedule it. If you want to show off your sport and do that game in a shopping mall, just schedule it that way. You don't have to. I don't understand the midseason thing, the midseason award thing. I just don't. It's not my thing. I'm sure somebody loved it. It wasn't me. Near the end of the first quarter, Leo, I think we got hosed. And I don't like to come on here and be like, hey, we got hosed and that's why we lost. So I want everybody to understand what I'm saying. We got hosed and we lost. We did not lose because we got hosed on a couple of calls. It would have helped to get these calls differently. And I won't even say correct, because I don't think they were wrong. I just think they
definitely weren't right. They didn't feel right.
They didn't feel right. Near the end of the first quarter, San Antonio is driving down the field on their second possession of the game. We have a pass from Fred Payton out to his left, short of the line to gain on 4th down. The Tulsa defender picks up the ball carrier, ready to suplex him down in a clear. I mean, from the moment he picks him up, everybody knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's clear what's going to happen here. He's picking up the player. As he picks up the player and has them in the air, the whistle blows because forward progress has stopped, I guess. And then he slams him to the ground, and a flag goes out, and it's an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, and we're all good. That's true. It is. The problem is the officials decide that since the foul occurred after the whistle, it occurred after the play. Since it was 4th down and the Gunslingers did not reach the line to gain, the possession flips to Tulsa. Tulsa gets the ball and half the distance to the goal from there. 1st down, Tulsa. My argument here, and I understand, I looked over some rules and talked to some people today, and this is very much a judgment call for the officials. But my position is, if a player is in the middle of committing a foul when the whistle blows, that is during the play. And as an official, I would never allow the team that commits an unsportsmanlike penalty foul to benefit from said foul when in this particular case. So I think San Antonio should have retained possession of the ball. I believe the foul was occurring when the whistle was blown.
When the whistle blew.
And continued past that into after the whistle was blown. But I believe that the penalty should have been assessed on the play.
Absolutely.
Your thoughts, Leo?
I liken it to a late hit on a quarterback. You know, like I've never seen a late hit on a quarterback, and they say, "Well, the whistle blew, so it happened after the play, so we'll penalize the 15 yards, and change possession of the ball." The penalty was occurring at the time the whistle blew. The penalty had already started. They were engaged. They didn't disengage and then engage again after the whistle. They were engaged when the whistle was blown. The action continued, but started before the whistle. 100%. I was livid. I was like, how can you not rule that would result in an automatic first down? I do not accept that explanation of the penalty occurred after the whistle was blown, after the play was dead. It started before the whistle blew.
Right. And so I think we got hosed. Like I say, I've looked over the rule book. I've talked to some people today, and this is very much an official sort of subjective thing about when and where and all of those things. On the very next play, Leo, Tulsa, half the distance of the goal line, so they are down near their goal line. TJ Edwards throws a rainbow pass over the entire field. The receiver catches the ball. I'm going to use quotation marks around that. Catches the ball in the end zone. Immediately, like dives forward, lunges forward for this ball. As part of his lunge, the ball hits both hands, and then his hands hit the wall, and the ball comes out of his hands. He does not survive the wall with possession of the ball. Very much like the ground. The ground, the best thing that Ralph has ever told me is think of the wall like the ground. In a lot of ruling situations, it's an extension of the ground, which means if you go to the ground with a ball without making a football move and you lose possession of the ball, you do not survive the ground. What is it, Leo?
That's an incomplete pass.
It's an incomplete pass. The officials rule that because, and they said this, you, by the way, I know that the IFL broadcasters don't listen to us. Stop talking over the referees when they're talking.
Yeah.
They're telling us the information we actually need to understand what's going on. Stop talking over them. That's a big rule in broadcasting. I know, I've done it before. Don't do that. Anyway, the officials make the announcement that because he possessed the ball with two hands in the end zone, the play is immediately dead, and everything that happens after that doesn't count. And that's just not true.
Not true.
It's just not the way it goes. Now, again, I've looked over the rule book. I talked to some people today. This is very much a subjective official sort of decision thing. But again, this isn't a catch. So they have a possession they shouldn't have, in my opinion. And I know my opinion's biased. And then they have a touchdown on the very next play that they shouldn't have. That hurts. That is what sends them ahead 14-7.
Yep. And then we turn the ball over.
We get a change of possession. See, we're all still in the same. We get a change of quarter, change of possession, and then we are driving down the field. We have a 1st and goal. Fred Payton drops back. He sees Glenn Gibbons streaking across the back of the end zone, throws the ball. It's a poor throw. I can't describe it any other way. Glenn Gibbons is open. No, this is
this is the
previous play. He throws a ball to Glenn Gibbons, who is open, streaking across the back of the end zone. It's a poorly thrown ball. It glances off Glenn Gibbons' hands and up over our head and back behind us. The very next play, there's a bad snap. When are we going to figure this out? When are we going to figure out snaps? It's a bad snap along the ground. Fred Payton picks the ball up. He runs back and to his left. He has time to get rid of the ball. For whatever reason, he doesn't. And I know the very first thing that his head coach said to him, because I can read body language, when the play is blown dead, Fred turns around and looks at Jonathan Dane, who is standing on the sideline like this, and then does this. Throw the ball away.
Throw it away.
Throw the ball away. The very next play, Fred Payton drops back, gets a little bit of pressure, and he throws the ball into triple coverage in the end zone. It is intercepted. But the problem here is when he throws into triple coverage, there are two gunslingers on that side of the field, and there are two gunslingers on the other side of the field. Both of the guys on the right side of the field, as Fred Payton is looking at it, are in man coverage or have a man on them, but they both have their man beaten, quote unquote. One of them, clearly. One of them, the short receiver that is running a drag route across the middle, has his guy beaten big. There is a streaking, 9 route, whatever you want to call it, going up the sideline. He's got about half a step or a step on his guy, but you got to put the ball in the right spot. But either one of those options is a better option than what we have. On the left side of the field, Fred Payton throws it to the left side of the field. It's an interception. And now you are down 14-7. Tulsa's going to have the ball first in the second half. There's about 11 minutes left in the first half. And they go down the field and make it 21-7, and then eventually 28-7 on another Fred Payton interception in the end zone. And that's your ball game, folks. You would have to come out in the second half and play an absolutely perfect second half on both sides of the ball to overcome a 21-point deficit. And that's where we lost the game. And so when I talk about the decision-making being the problem, that's what I'm seeing. Fred Payton needs to throw the ball on the bad snap. Fred Payton needs to find the open receivers in his read and not throw into triple coverage. That's what I'm seeing. That's not a knock on Fred. I'm not saying anything bad about him as a person. I'm not saying anything against his effort. I think he's giving maximum effort out there. But the execution is not there.
Yeah, it's kind of why I wondered why if maybe he was still feeling the effects of being sick from last week. I mean, I don't know. But there was a point in the second half where, unbeknownst to us, Fred Payton was in the game with a different jersey, a different number on, because I did recall that his jersey was torn from
it was
earlier in the game. They replaced that jersey and put him in with a different number. I believe it was number 10. And we were wondering, who is this guy? Like, who did they we joked that we brought in a ringer, because he came in and there was some moments in that second half where he was throwing the ball well, finding open guys. Like the play was much more precise and crisp and making much better decisions for a couple of possessions. Anyways, it wasn't nearly enough to get us back into the game. And then when we started to get a little bit of momentum, we had the onside kick that Joshua is mentioning in the comments. That was, oh man, that was tough. That happened in the end zone right in front of us too. That was a tough one to watch unfold right in front of you. But clearly, like you said, Philip, he's got the ability. He's an athlete. He's got the ability, but I don't understand what the issue is with the execution in crucial moments of games. Poor decisions on throws, on not finding guys that are open, and just like situational football, getting rid of the ball under pressure instead of taking a sack and losing 15 yards, things like that. It happens too often.
Let me tell you, Fred Payton threw 2 interceptions, and I got a good view on both of them because they were both in our end zone. The one I just told you about was on Fred Payton. The next interception, even though it was kind of the nail in the coffin, It was in the end zone, and I was looking at the same thing because the ball gets thrown right at me where I'm standing. And I see what he sees. He sees an open receiver in the back of the end zone.
Yeah, I remember that
window to throw through, and he tries to force it through the window, and it just gets tipped. It gets tipped one direction and then tipped straight up, and then somebody catches it.
Good defensive play.
I don't blame Fred for that. That's just sheer luck in that case. That's not Fred's fault. Those plays are going to happen. And you can Monday morning quarterback that kind of moment well, it was just too tight. He shouldn't have tried. I like a quarterback. I like any player who has the confidence to go, no, I can do that. I can get that there. Because 9 times out of 10, you're right. I tell my daughter all the time, we've been watching a lot of baseball lately because Caleb loves baseball. Talks about it all the time. Really loves it when it comes on TV. So we watch all the time. And I get mad at base runners who stop when the ball is still in the outfield. I'm like, go. Make them make the perfect throw. If they can make the perfect throw and get you at third base, fine. They got you out. It's okay. But make them execute. Make them do exactly what they've got to do to get you out. You're in the driver's seat there. I like competence. I like the guys who will go, no, I can do that. I can get that in there and fire that through there. And just it's something inexplicable that happens, and those things happen. And Raul's right. If the quarterback's not confident enough to try to make those throws, he shouldn't be a quarterback. I agree.
Yeah.
I want a quarterback that's confident enough to see a guy open in the back of the end zone and go, I can get it there. I can do it. And sometimes they're going to fail on that. Sometimes those things are going to happen. I don't blame Fred for that second interception. It hurt. I didn't like it, but I don't blame him for it. Now, the first one, I just think he saw the wrong read. I don't know what he saw. I don't know what made him believe that was the side of the field that was a better opportunity to keep possession of the ball and keep the ball moving downfield when your other two receivers on the other side it's zoned, but they're basically locked with one man on them. And one of them has this guy beaten. I mean, beaten bad across the middle of the field. It's the shortest route, but he had it beaten bad across the field. Let's talk about maybe the shining moment of the game, Leo. I got to tell you, if you need 3 points from way downtown, right as the last second clicks off the first half of a game, there was no better place to be this weekend than right there, right in that spot of town we were in. That place is blessed in some way this weekend because we all know, everybody that was paying any attention at all yesterday to the Spurs game, and most people that weren't paying attention to the Spurs game because now we've seen a reel or a TikTok or whatever about it. Wemby makes a shot that every player in their history has thrown up, a midcourt shot as the buzzer rings at halftime, just hoping. And sometimes they make it. Very often they don't. But rarely have I ever seen it pass through nothing but net.
Well, not only that, it was like a jump shot, like a natural what do you call it? Motion jump shot form. Like most people, it's a heave. You know, they're like lunging and throwing it.
Right.
He squared himself up and made a jump shot, and his feet were on the other side of the half court line.
Yes.
So yeah, that was pretty incredible, and we got to see that twice this weekend, as your point is saying.
The day before, what you have not seen TikToks about,
right?
Is that the day before? What was the length on that? Do you know how far that was?
Let me see if I can find that here.
It had to be 42 or 43 yards.
Special teams. Kicking long, 47.
47-yard field goal as the last second ticks off the clock. San Antonio Gunslingers kicker. What's his name again, Leo? I keep forgetting.
Tyler Huddle.
Tyler Huddle kicks an incredible field goal. Look, in the long run, did it mean anything? No. It didn't change anything on the score, but man, it was a fun moment. It's a long field goal as time ticks off. When we were struggling to find any bright spots, Tyler steps in and kicks. And look, 47-yard field goal in the NFL is nothing. In college football, that's nothing. They got this big, giant, wide set of uprights to kick through 47 yards.
Right.
Tyler's doing that through half that size. And I will remind everyone, as I always do when it comes to kicking in the indoor game, they do not have a dedicated long snapper. They do not have a dedicated holder. So all of those things that we just take for granted in the outdoor game, those guys that stand on the sidelines, we've watched them. Leo and I have watched them when the Commanders were here. You can watch them anytime you go to any practice. There's two guys that sit down on the sideline and practice the long snap and the hold for the whole time in practice.
Throughout.
They don't have those.
No. And you know what? Something else?
The
guy that usually is the holder is Joaquin Collazo.
Right.
And he was not available for this game. So that was with someone stepping in for that role that hadn't done it this season before.
Yeah. And Tyler nailed it. I mean, right down the middle. It was a beautiful kick. It was a great moment.
Tyler's having a good time out there, and he's a competitor. Let me tell you something about Tyler. I went up to him after the game. I came up from behind and tapped him on the shoulder, and I said, "That's our thicker kicker." And he turns around, and he looks at me, he says, "Yes, sir." And he kind of looks down, and I'm like, "Yeah, I know that was a tough one, bud." And he's like, "Oh man," he's like, "It's been so tough." He's like, "But we'll just keep trying. We're getting there. We'll get there." And then he just kind of puts his head down on my shoulder. Almost, I put my arm around him. I'm like, you keep doing what you do, buddy. And he's like, "I appreciate it, sir." But you could see that emotionally, like if these guys, the frustration is there. They want to win, and it's just not working out so far this season.
It's not. But back to the point. My point. Tyler Huddle, 47-yard field goal as time expires in the first half.
Yes, sir.
On Saturday, nearly 20, almost exactly. No, not quite. About 27 hours later, right?
Yeah.
Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah. It was
does the same thing. Does that mean?
So I was at halftime, started at 7. Yeah.
Does that mean that Tyler Huddle and Wemby are the same person? Has anybody seen them in the same room together? Are we sure?
Same
time. The same guy?
Hasn't happened. Has not happened. That's an interesting theory.
That kind of killer instinct right at the half. I mean, that's very telling. I think they may be the same person.
I know everybody will say, well, thicker kicker and the difference in build, but has anyone ever seen Tyler without his pads and his jersey on? I haven't. Exactly. I haven't. Have you seen him with a basketball uniform on? He might all of a sudden shed, some of that thickness.
The thing is, they probably have the same volume. Like if you just unfold Tyler out, I bet you get a Wemby out of that.
You take Tyler and you stretch him kind of like, was that toy back in the 80s?
Oh, you're thinking Stretch Armstrong.
Stretch Armstrong. You stretch Armstrong, Tyler Huddle, and you have Wembanyama.
There you go. We figured it out. We know the secret. It was an exciting moment in a game that did not have a lot of exciting moments for Gunslingers fans. Agnes likes that. Good. Mom likes that.
Yeah. Next time I see him, I'll call him Stretch.
Yeah. Well, hey, I mean, Wemby did it in the playoffs and got, on every Sports Center highlight and
Right.
talk show last night, but about 24 hours earlier, Tyler did it first. Tyler
Yeah.
Huddle did it first.
You know what? You bring up a good point. And we haven't been doing them lately, but if I'm gonna say, if we did our bullseye and bull spit, I'll tell you right now what my bull spit is, because you just struck a nerve right there. On the broadcast, Tyler Huddle did it first, right, this weekend, and everybody in the Freeman Coliseum had a great time, and watching that, and we appreciate you, Tyler. But then they go on the Spurs broadcast and they're talking about the small markets of San Antonio and Oklahoma City and how much the rabid fan base and how great the fandom is and the fans are there. San Antonio Gunslinger fans are pretty freaking fantastic too, I might say. The loyal ones, the ones that are there game in and game out. But he says for each of these teams, they're the only game in town. Oh man, that made me mad.
Yeah.
That made me mad.
Yeah.
That made me mad. I know they don't know any better. They're national broadcast guys, Tirico and Reggie Miller and, of course. But still, we need to fix that. People need to know it's not the only game in town.
Raul Nava says, if they're not the same person, then probably Wimby was there watching the game the day before and got inspired. I like it.
Maybe. That would be so awesome to see Wemby at a Gunslingers game one day.
Wouldn't it be? Wouldn't it just be? Chase Risman, San Antonio is not a small market. I agree. I tend to agree. You look at the sheer population numbers. There are a lot of other smaller markets that have more in professional sports than the San Antonio market does. And certainly when you start adding in San Antonio, San Marcos, New Braunfels, and Austin, which I believe is all in the base. That's all driving distance. I think when you put that market together, there is no reason we do not have more professional sports options. I think a baseball team would do great here. I think a football team would do well here. Although the NFL is such a different beast, and you just have to pack out an 80 to 90 to 100,000 seat stadium. And, I do have questions about whether San Antonio will do that. I think they can, but whether they will is kind of a question to me. But if you're going to give Jacksonville an NFL team, San Antonio deserves one. And don't anybody come in here and tell me it's because of Jerry Jones, because that's just not true. If it makes sense to NFL owners, it doesn't matter what Jerry Jones says. And Jerry Jones doesn't run the NFL. If he did, he'd have more Super Bowl championships. I promise you. So don't tell me it's all because of Jerry, because Jerry doesn't control the Major League Baseball. Jerry doesn't control everything. The problem that you have here, Chase, yes, it does. He can block the vote. No, he can't. When it makes sense to 32 owners, one owner can't block the vote. But it doesn't make sense. And I'll tell you why. This is where I was getting to, Chase. It is not market size. It is not fans. It is corporate dollars. Corporate dollars exist in Dallas. Corporate dollars exist in some of these other markets that aren't as big as San Antonio, but have professional sports in a way they just don't exist here. And that is the biggest reason.
You know where they exist, though, is in Austin. So I could buy the whole theory I've heard about Austin and San Antonio kind of sharing a team and the stadium being like San Marcos, kind of like a midpoint or something. And the team in name would be San Antonio, whatever, because San Antonio, I mean, maybe I would think is recognized as the bigger city. I could see something like that happening, or even if it is named Austin, that would be unfortunate, but because everybody knows San Antonio is better.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I could see that maybe happening one day.
But I mean, when corporate dollars become a thing, and by the way, they will. HEB is going to be a multinational corporation. They are building, they are growing, huge. Outside of South Texas, you may not realize it, but HEB is taking off. There are communities all up in North Texas, in Louisiana, even up into Arkansas that are begging, clamoring for HEB. And that is growing in a way. So that will be a corporate sponsor, a large corporate sponsor. It's a small corporate sponsor right now, but it will be a large corporate sponsor eventually. And once you get them on board, you start to see things like Valero follow and some of those kind of things. So it'll happen. HEB Stadium, yeah. I'll put HEB in charge of all stadiums. I think they could run them better than Aramark could. A lot of teams have stadiums. Raul says a lot of teams have stadiums outside their own city. You're absolutely correct. In fact, most of them do. Most of the large metro areas do not have. Dallas is not in Dallas. San Francisco is not in San Francisco. Neither of the New York teams are in New York. When you're talking about NFL stadiums, neither of the Los Angeles teams are in LA, or is that in? That might actually be in LA. Is SoFi in LA? Somebody tell me. Somebody knows. But yeah, it is the area. I don't think the name San Antonio would matter one way or the other. You could call it Texas, whatever, and put it between San Antonio and Austin, and you'd be fine. Big Red and Barbacoa.
Dude, we think exactly. I was just about to say like Big Red Stadium or something and get some Big Red and Barbacoa in there. Heck yeah. That's why it needs to be a little bit closer to San Antonio than Austin, because the Mexican food in Austin sucks. I said it, and it's true. You can't convince me otherwise.
You're not wrong.
We are preparing me otherwise.
So we are preparing for a move up to North Texas here in about a month. And I had to tell my girls who have grown up here. Both of my girls were toddlers when we moved here, and now we have a third girl and a grandson. So I was telling my kids, when you go to North Texas, you cannot find breakfast tacos. What we call breakfast tacos, they call breakfast burritos, and they're not as good. They're just, you don't get the same kind of, you can find some places. We will find the place that has good. But even when they have good stuff, they don't call them breakfast tacos. They call them breakfast burritos.
And the tortillas are garbage. You can't find good tortillas in North Texas.
That's not true. You go to a little taqueria where they exist up there too. There's always some family that has a little taqueria. You find the
maybe
right
a little family place, maybe. Yeah.
But the big name places, no.
We've been going to Austin a lot lately. You know, my daughter, my son-in-law live in Pflugerville, whatever. We hit up the HEB the other day. Dolores was going to make some breakfast, and we went, and we could not get the same label of tortillas that they had there at the HEB in Pflugerville, which is just north of Austin.
Right.
Exact same type of tortillas, same label and everything, were not the same as what you get here in San Antonio. They weren't. They just weren't. They were not good.
Sad.
It is sad.
That's sad. No, you can get, if you know where to go, if you find the right places to go, you can't trust anybody to, big corporations to have good fresh made tortillas, but you go to the right places, you can go. Raul says when he was working in North Texas, he almost fought a lady who worked at Laredo Taco Company because she would call them tacos, even though she wouldn't call them tacos, even though that's right.
That's funny.
Yeah, no, I had to prep my kids. I had to be like, hey, we're going to the land of breakfast burritos for whatever reason. That's what they call them. And you just don't get them. They're just not the same. We are going to miss until we find it. And there's a place. There's some hole in the wall, little taqueria that we'll find that does a good one. So, but you can find, the thing is, you have to look in North Texas for that place. You don't have to look in San Antonio, South Texas.
Just pick one. Yeah,
that's just expected. Everybody knows what they're supposed to do and how they're supposed to make a good breakfast taco. And yeah, right above San Marcos is where that starts petering out. Austin, everything north of that. Waco, you kidding me? Breakfast taco in Waco.
I like barbecue. Waco, barbecue, okay. You find good barbecue up there in North Texas and Austin and that area. Yeah, sure. not Mexican food.
No.
Really hard
Nope.
to find.
Nope.
We got off subject here.
Did we? I mean, I don't think we did. We're talking about stuff. I will be interested. I truly believe, Leo, that we have to make a change offensively. And when I first got involved in the business that I'm in now, which is ministry, there becomes this, when you're having a staffing issue, this has become a corporate thing that has leaked into ministry, but there is a phrase that you hear over and over and over again. And it's pervaded in ministry now, and it is change the people or change the people. Affect a change in the people you have, or take those people out of those spots and put new people in. Those are your options. Change the people or change the people. I submit to you, Leo, that I have seen enough at this point, halfway through the season, that changing the people is not happening. And I believe, for better or worse, we need to make some very targeted, some very specific changes in the people.
I agree.
Now, there's a problem, because the change I think we need to see, we did this last year, about the same time of year, the change I think we need to see is at one specific position, and very frankly, a quarterback that is available right now is a quarterback that's available for a reason. So I don't know how to fix it. I don't know who to get. Let's be clear. Sam Castronova's not riding through the door. I think we said exactly that last season about this time too. What happened last season, if you'll remember, is we brought in Joaquin, who had struggled in Iowa. He came in as a rookie, had a good, solid back end of the season.
And he played great.
Looked good, looked great. And hey, maybe Joaquin's that guy. Maybe he gets well and comes in, and that's the change to the, but he's been one of the people that has not changed. And so when I'm talking about changing the people, I think all of it, and look, to get a good quarterback, you can't just go out and sign somebody. They're out there for a reason. Okay? The guys that are available are out there for a reason. What you would have to do is find a team that has two really good options, is willing to give you one of those options, and you have to lose something like Glenn Gibbons.
Well,
are you willing to do that?
Yeah, because I'm not saying I'm willing to do that with Glenn, but you're right. You're right. I mean, it's a tough situation.
That's just the truth of what it is.
I don't disagree with you, but I will add this to your point. I'll add this little caveat. You mentioned Joaquin Collazo, and we meant, I think he came in last year late and did some great things. And I think something that some might forget, when we talked earlier in the season and when they changed over to Fred, I think the kind of consensus feeling or thoughts there was that, we were wondering why we were seeing Joaquin struggle in situations that we weren't seeing him struggle last year. And I think the consensus was it had to do with the offensive line. Well, now at this point, the offensive line is completely is different, not completely different, but they've made some changes along there. And last week when Joaquin came in, we were in the game before he got injured. We were competing. And so, maybe he gets that chance. I don't know what Coach Bain is thinking. He may totally disagree with us. He probably does. But I would agree with you that there's an issue at the quarterback position right now. Fred clearly has ability, but for some reason just hasn't been able to execute. And you're getting into like desperate times where you need to make something happen. Like you said, you change the people or change the people. And with the offensive line situation being improved, there's still some issues to work out there. Maybe that solves things for Joaquin, and maybe we saw a little bit of that last week.
Maybe. Raul Nava says, put in Coach Bain. And Kelly says, yeah, Coach Bain. I'm going to tell you right now, that ain't happening. I think Jonathan Bain's playing days are over. I think he would tell you that, and he wouldn't take a chance. I think that he could get out there and sling it and have a lot of fun? I do. Do I also think he would be putting himself at risk in a way that he's not willing to put himself at risk anymore? I do. And that's why that's probably not going to happen. Kelly says, I think Joaquin has looked great, and things were clicking. I think that's possible. She also says he is going to be out another week.
You know, a back is a real funny thing, and you never want to rush somebody. Like I said, I talked to him after the game, and I wished him, health, good health. And I said, hey man, I'd love to see you back out there. I'd love to see you, suited up, but not before you're healthy, man.
Right.
First things first. And he's like, yeah, I said, back is a funny thing. And he goes, yeah, you use it for a lot. You said you tend to use it. You tend to use that for a lot of stuff. And I'm like, yep, that's true.
Raul says Cam Newton might still be available. Yes, anybody that's available is available for a reason. Cam Newton is available for a reason. April will put on a uniform, pads, and helmet. She'll hit the field. She'll play quarterback. I'm down. Let's try.
Yeah, I think we have a lot of fans that feel the same way.
Look,
that's how much they love the team.
From my Mason Rudolph. Okay, all right. Why don't we just go get anybody who played once in the NFL? And look, I hate putting this all at the feet of one position, because when it comes down to it, when your offense is this ineffective, it usually works. It's usually because it needs to be spread out over everybody. Coaching, offensive line, receivers, and the quarterback. But I got to tell you, as I go back and watch film, that's not what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a guy that I think knows the right thing to do, knows what he's supposed to do, but doesn't, for whatever reason, in the moment, connect with what's supposed to be there. And as much as I want Fred to be successful, at some point, you have to pull the trigger. Again, change the people or change the people. If he hasn't got it by this point, and I realize he's been in and out, and we've bounced him back and forth and all of those things, none of that can change anything. But you know what? When you get the opportunity and you don't make the most of the opportunity, you cannot blame me as a fan for saying, okay, somebody else gets the opportunity. And that's where I'm at. That's just kind of where I am at this point is I don't think it's even 100% Fred's fault. I just think we need something different. And maybe that's Joaquin. Maybe that's a healthy Joaquin. Maybe that's although I mean, I'll be really honest. You were right though, Leo. At the beginning of the season, it was a lot of offensive line issues. I'm not sure how successful almost anybody could have been back there. I feel like we've done better. We're still having these issues at center, which I do not like.
Yeah, got to get those snaps up.
But I got to tell you, it's got to change. Now, does it have to change immediately? I don't know. Because you go back and look at the schedule. I'm looking at the schedule now.
Well, we're not winning this next game. If we're being real, I hate saying that as a fan, and I hope I'm wrong. But our next game is against.
We can go into Green Bay against the 8-1 Green Bay Blizzards and shock them?
I hope we can. But if you're asking me if I would put money on it, please prove me wrong. If players or coaches watch this show and Leo said that there's no way we're winning this game and screw that guy and we're going to go, you know what? Please do that. I would love for you to. I would be so happy. But I can't bet on the Gunslingers in this game.
This road trip is tough.
Brutal.
We go Friday night. By the way, it's Friday night. It is not Saturday. And I know, April, you've asked a couple of times about a watch party. I don't know. I'm not sure. Friday night should be a little easier for the folks at Matanga's, but that's more Leo's area.
And this is going to be another weekend where I'm not going to be in town,
okay.
family. So if there is going to be something and I hear of anything, I'll share it out there. But that's going to be more on, if Matanga's is willing to do that again. And then if Ralph is available and can be out there and help with the stream, I don't know. But if I hear anything, I'll put it out there. I don't know if Ralph is still on. He was commenting earlier, or if he's in a position where he could say, and he might not be in a position where he can do anything, and that's fine.
Right.
But yeah, I can't be here this weekend.
Yeah, Friday night, 7:00, later game than we're used to. I'm getting kind of used to these 4:00 games. Kind of like coming out of the arena and the light still being, the sun still being up. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Although I think every game I've been to this year has been a loss.
Oh, well,
which is probably right, because we're like 1-4 at home. So
yeah, it's been brutal, man.
It's been pretty rough. Green Bay Friday night in Green Bay, and then 8 days later on Saturday at 6 p.m. we are in Jacksonville. Between those two teams, Leo, their combined record, they have 2 losses. Green Bay has 1, and Jacksonville has 1. That's it. This is going to be look, anything's possible. It doesn't mean we should go out there and just lay down. We go and we play the game. 10 seeds beat 2 seeds all the time, or whatever.
It happens.
It happens. But when you look at this is going to be a tough couple of games. As we get into the rest of June, that's week 12 and 13, week 14, we have to come back home. It's superhero night in the Freeman Coliseum. Saturday the 13th, 4 p.m. game against the New Mexico Chupacabras. That's a game you can win. That's a game you should win.
We can win that one.
That's a game you should win.
That's always a fun one.
Night. Always fun. After that, we go up to Tulsa, and then we go out to Vegas. Look, what I'm telling you right now is when you start looking across the next 5 games or so, there's a lot of tough there.
We need to get tough quick.
Now, the good news is Green Bay and Jacksonville are not conference games. And Tulsa is not a conference game, although we need to go to Tulsa and beat Tulsa. We can beat this team. If we go and execute, we can absolutely beat Tulsa.
We should have beaten them twice, yeah.
But those 3 games are not conference games. Vegas is a conference game. New Mexico is a conference game. So that takes you through the month of June. So it's going to get tough.
Yeah.
I am not going to be terribly surprised if we come back home to face New Mexico. And I hate to say this out loud, but we're 3-7.
Yeah. That's what we're facing right now. That's what the Gunslingers are facing. Looking at that schedule, they're doing one game at a time right now. Obviously, focused on Green Bay, but just
right.
You're facing a grinder.
Yeah, a lot of good football being played by those teams you're going up against.
Now, if you could only have one, Philip. I'm going to bring up this question just because it's relevant to the history of the San Antonio Gunslingers. If you could only have one of these next 2, I mean, it'd be great to have 2. But if you could only have one, which one would you want? They're both non-conference games, so that's not going to be a factor. But there is something that is a factor in this.
Yeah, because we have no history whatsoever with Green Bay.
No,
Have we even played Green Bay before? This might be the first time we played Green Bay.
I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and look at the schedule last year. We might have played them once.
Chase will chime in here in a second, I think, and tell me he knows. But I don't know that we've played Green Bay before. And obviously, there is lots of history between the San Antonio Gunslingers and the Jacksonville Sharks. We were in the NAL together for three seasons. 3? Yeah.
That sounds right. Yeah, 3.
And now we have been together in the IFL. We have played them twice. This will be the second time in the IFL that we played them in Jacksonville. They are afraid to come to San Antonio, and I understand that. I get that. Yeah. Chase says they have not played. They have not played each other. So first time against Green Bay. So your question is if I can have one, and I can only have, like, you're guaranteeing me that the other one will be a loss, yes?
Right. You can only get one. Which one would it be? We'll hope for 2, but
I think it would have to be Jacksonville.
Yeah, same. Just because of the history. And we both came into the IFL in the same time.
Yes, same season. We made the jump together. The reason I feel that way, not just the rivalry, but the way they're positioned on the schedule, I want to come back home on a victory, string a couple together, beat New Mexico before we go out to Vegas and have a winning streak established as we go to Vegas. I think that gives more confidence. If you win in Green Bay, lose in Jacksonville, win in New Mexico, you're just kind of bouncing back and forth. If you lose in Green Bay, you win in Jacksonville, and you win against a good football team, you come home and you beat New Mexico, you start to feel like you have something rolling. You start to feel like you have some momentum on your side in a different way. So it's not just the rivalry, although the rivalry absolutely is part of that. But just the way they're positioned on the schedule, I think I'd take the second one over the first one, because the first one sets up this ping-ponging back and forth, win-loss, win-loss, win-loss. I don't want to do that. You?
Same. I'll take the win over Jacksonville, the Jacksonville Guppies.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they deserve it. They deserve a beating. They deserve for it to be us that gives it to them.
I agree.
We have some friends over there. We don't connect with them in the same way we used to back in the NAL days. I'm great that they're doing well. I would love to be a chink in the armor. I would love to just be one of those games that they're like, man, how did that team beat us? Like, I would love to be that team, to be the ones to beat them that way, and make them go, wow, what happened? Wow, how did that happen? And really, I think you feel better about yourself. You get a win against Jacksonville, good team. And then you come home and you beat a team you're supposed to beat. Then you head out to Vegas, and I think you feel good about that game at that point. You feel like we can play with them. We can do this. We can make this work.
I agree.
So yeah,
and as a fanboy with the red and blue colored glasses, though, like if you actually manage a way to win both those games on the road, and then you're coming home against the Chupacabras, then you're really feeling like you got something going.
I will say this,
man.
And Coach Bain, if you're listening either now live or later, you have my permission to use anything we say as bulletin board material.
Oh, heck yeah.
But especially this, if you go into Green Bay and beat Green Bay, close or close win, a win, you go in and you win against Green Bay, and then you go into Jacksonville and you win against Jacksonville, you can wipe out the rest of the record up to that point. It doesn't even matter anymore. You have proved that something has clicked and changed. If you go into both of these places and come out with W's out of both of those places, anybody that looks to the first part of the season and says, I don't know about the Gunslingers, shut your mouth.
Yeah. That will erase all doubts and say, well, whatever it was that they had before, they figured it out, because
what that means is these two games are literally a reset. I know we used this already earlier this season, but they literally are a reset button. You go into both of those places and you win, all the rest of the history of this season does not matter. It is not important. You have changed who you are as a team. You have changed what people will think of you and your abilities as a team. You have the ability within 2 weeks to do that. And if you need to tell your team that and make them realize how important these 2 games could be, you go in and get wins here, and everybody is going to start thinking differently about you as a team. Go for it, man. Let that be the motivation that moves us forward is, hey, this is our opportunity to go up against 2 really good teams and shut the mouth of everyone who talks about IFL football, because right now they're looking at San Antonio and going, this is just another New Mexico, Tucson, Northern Arizona, San Antonio. They're all the bottom rung. They're all the bottom tier. Iowa, all those teams are down here. San Antonio might be the best of all those teams, but they're all still, lower rung teams. You change that entire script if you win these next 2 games.
Talk about a boost. Yeah.
You win both of those games, then you come home and beat New Mexico, and all of a sudden Vegas is looking at you and going,
uh-oh.
Mm-hmm. We're ill. We're sick. Can we put this off for a couple of weeks? We're not ready. You change the script if you find a way to win these next 2. And I mean, find a way. They don't have to be impressive wins. They just have to be wins.
A 1-point win is a win. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get the thicker kicker out there kicking field goals from 47 yards.
Josh says, my honest opinion on all of this is that Coach Bain is doing great. Yes, execution isn't perfect, offensive, defensive line, but this is basically a new team. So we honestly had more against us or betting against us than where we're at. That's true. I mean, you're not wrong. This is in a way, we're almost a brand new expansion team. We brought in a first-year head coach. We brought in a lot of young guys. We've got a couple of veterans, a couple of, one of those guys, God, I know you can't do anything about injuries, the next man up and all those things, but man, I just got to wonder, this defense with a leader like Elam on the field becomes elite. Like, they're really good right now. They become elite with Elam on the field. And Riverius Rivers has stepped in and done an amazing job. Had another interception on Saturday.
The best player on the team. He's awesome.
But man, Elam, I was so excited about having Matt Elam on this team, and injuries just didn't allow that to happen. And Riverius has come in and stepped in and filled in great. You're right. He's probably the best player on the field right now for the Gunslingers.
Yep.
But sure would have been nice. Man, have them both. That would have been great. Rivers and Elam back there would have been a lot of fun. You close out the season in July. Do we not have August games? We don't have August games.
Nope.
Close out the season in July. Orlando, you can absolutely beat Orlando. Iowa, you can absolutely beat Iowa in Iowa. You also have an Arizona Rattlers game that you need to gird your loins and go into Arizona. Oh, that's here, actually. That one's here.
That's a home
take
game
on Arizona, and hey, maybe I don't know. I'll be in North Texas by then, but I can swing down and see my buddy Guy. I can hang out with Guy finally. We could be in the same room together. That would be fun. Just looking at
interview.
When that
ask him for an interview.
Sure. Yeah. You want to come do an interview on the Smoking Guns podcast? The what? Y'all have a podcast? He didn't know anything about us. That's fine. Not a big deal. Well, Leo, I don't know what to say. Like, I'm not ready to write off the season yet. I'm not ready to just write it off as, hey, this is going to be.
We're still in the playoffs. I mean, we're still the 4th seed, but it just doesn't feel good.
No,
it doesn't feel good.
Records aside and seeding aside, it does not feel like a playoff team right now. But it also doesn't feel like it can't be a playoff team. It's not one of those like, look,
right.
I've been around sports a long time. I've been a fan of my team for a long time. There are teams you get halfway through the season and you go, well, this ain't it. This ain't getting us anywhere. Even if we make it in the playoffs, this is not getting us anywhere. I'm not ready to write this team off in that way and go, wow, this isn't it. This will be a great, last year around this time when our offense was cooking, but our defense could not stop anybody.
Yeah.
Like Leo and I and RC could have come out and run plays against our defense and scored points. Last year, do you remember this? Defense was bad.
It was pretty bad, yeah.
Whether I said it or not, halfway through the season last year, I knew we weren't a playoff team. I knew we weren't going anywhere. I knew we weren't doing anything. You try to keep the hope alive, and you keep doing the math and seeing, what you need to do to make it happen. But no. But I don't feel that way this year. And I don't know. Leo is. Would you say? I said this weekend, and then I thought about it, and I'm not sure I was right. Would you say that the offense this year is as bad as the defense was last year?
No. I remember when you said it, and I kind of we were feeling the emotions from the game.
I was in a bad mood. Okay, I was in
a bad mood. When you said that, I kind of nodded my head and I said, "Yeah, you might be right," but yeah, in retrospect, no, that's not. We've had some time to cool off a little bit. That was a very frustrating game.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Friday night. Don't forget. Don't think it's Thursday. I'm very excited. I have to go on a trip. By the way, Leo, I need to talk to you after we're done recording. I have to go on a trip next week. I have to leave on Saturday. I'm going to be gone all the way through Wednesday of next week. I'm going to be out of town on business. And I was kind of bummed because I was like, I don't know that I'm going to have time to catch that Green Bay game. And then I looked at my calendar and I was like, oh, wait, it's Friday before I leave. I'll absolutely have time to sit down and watch that game and be, plugged in. However, may not be on the show next week because I've got to go on this business trip. So may need Ralph. Ralph, you available? You're still listening. I haven't heard from him for a while. He might have checked out. He does
dropped off
some other things on Monday nights. So I'll reach out to him. But I think I'm going to be absent. Chase said he'll come on. Chase, we'll do it. We'll have you swing in and spend some time with Leo and RC and maybe Ralph.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get all of you guys together and y'all can talk about the win over the Green Bay Blizzard that nobody saw coming. Y'all can I could talk about that. Chase Risman
that would be amazing.
Wouldn't it?
It would
Chase
be.
Risman also quotes Kevin Guy, these officials are awful. I'm tired of them determining the outcome of games. Is that a quote? Is that I want to say something to that quote, but I don't want to attribute it to Kevin Guy if that's not actually a Kevin Guy quote. So Chase, I need you to tell me if that's actually something that Kevin Guy has said. And if it is, we're going to get a rant. But I don't want to go on a rant against Kevin Guy. Kevin Guy does plenty of things that I can rant about. I don't want to add. It sounds like something he would say. You're right. It does. It does. Coaches that blame officials are my pet peeve. Coach and Kevin Guy is one of those that will blame officials when he loses. Coaches that blame officials are my pet peeve. I love wise coaches that recognize they can control what they can control and they can't control the officials. And he said something similar after the San Diego playoff game last year. Yeah, I believe that. And that's where I started really having a problem with Kevin Guy. Is playoffs last year when he absolutely went nuts over the officiating. If the Gunslingers get the win, Phil will cancel his business trip. Unfortunately, that's not a possibility. I would love to say I would do that, but this will be my first business meeting, my first annual meeting for my new bosses in the North Texas Conference. I kind of have to be there for that. You don't miss out on the first one. You don't miss out on any of them, but you really don't miss out on the first one. And I don't think that they will be like, hey, You're right. The Gunslingers beat the Blizzard. You should absolutely take the weekend off.
Well, you don't tell them that. You call in sick. Tell them you're sick. You're sick on your first day.
Not feeling well. No. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. They win, and I might check in. I might jump on my phone at some point and like come into the studio and cheer. But that's about it. What was I saying? Oh, Kevin Guy. Yeah, that is where I started to, because that bugs me. Like coaches, the coaches I respect and I've spent time around, don't blame the refs. We've had one coach here in all of my time working with the San Antonio Gunslingers. I've had one coach that I felt like blamed the officials when they lost games. I didn't get along with that particular coach very well. I'll leave that for just is what it is. I don't think that's the only reason we didn't get along, but we didn't get along.
Probably
and
not.
he had a tendency to complain about officiating when he lost games. Good coaches know that they can't control the officials, and they just, that's part of the game, and the human element is part of it. And even when the officials are absolutely terrible, they do not use the coaches as an excuse. And I don't respect coaches that blame the officials. And Kevin Guy tends to, when he loses the game, point to the officials and go, they're terrible, and this needs to be fixed. And I can't believe. And yeah, he's right. They got knocked out of the playoffs on a bad call last year. Absolutely did. But you know what? Play the game in such a way that call doesn't matter.
Right. That's what fans do. That's not what coaches do. Coaches come up with ways to overcome that. Yep.
Raul says, just look at the Spurs. Yeah, let's circle around to the Spurs. The Spurs are basketball in a nutshell is actually a great microcosm of this, because anytime you lose a game, you can point to officiating in the NBA and go, we lost because of officiating. Because there's always bad calls in basketball. Always. Always.
Mm-hmm.
Spurs fans right now feel like GSW or whatever his name is. I don't even know. And I don't care.
SGA.
SGA, yeah.
You did a motion with your arms a little while ago. Do that again. Well, yeah. Yeah.
Went to the Sergei Zubov School of Flopping.
Yeah.
No. I feel like Spurs fans feel like he flops a lot. They also feel like Oklahoma City plays beyond the line of physical. Like there's physical play.
Mm-hmm.
And there's grabbing guys by their dreadlocks and pulling them down. And those two things are not the same. And SGA and his flopping and the physical play that's going beyond physical. Yes, the Spurs fans and Spurs coaches could absolutely go, we're losing because the officials aren't treating us the same. I don't hear that from the organization. I do hear that from Spurs fans. I don't blame you. Some of that stuff has been pretty egregious. But I don't hear that from the organization, because that's a good organization. It's an organization that knows that we probably got the benefit of some bad calls too.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't appreciate organizations that come out and go, the officials are trash and they need to be dealt with, and I'm going to fix this. And those are all things that have either been said or something very like it by Kevin Guy. And that's why I don't particularly care for him. And he doesn't care. And that's fine. Don't get me started on the flopper chance. Man, floppers have been a part of the the NBA for 25 years or longer.
Since LeBron. LeBron.
Sergei Zubov, or not Sergei Zubov. What am I thinking of?
Vlade Divac.
Yes, Divac.
Vlade
Divac.
Mm-hmm.
Huge flopper. Used to drive me crazy when he played for Sacramento. And he would flop. He and Mike Bibby. Mike Bibby wasn't so much a flopper. He was a hard worker. He was a really good point guard and a hard worker. But then Sergei would just stand in the middle and you breathed on him wrong. And he'd fall. LeBron James, yeah.
LeBron
James. LeBron has become very much flopper. It gets him. It works for him because every official eye is on him when he's on the court because of who he is. And so he makes the most of it.
LeBron took it to the next level, and SGA has modeled a big part of his game after that. And it's really unfortunate because, frankly, it sucks. It's not a good part of the current game of basketball, and the NBA needs to do more about that because it's not good basketball when you see so much of that.
Yeah. In the NBA, you get, or in the NHL, you get a penalty, a 2-minute penalty in the box for embellishment. If they believe, even if you're fouled, even if you are tripped with a stick, that's tripping, you're responsible for your stick. So if a stick goes up under a player and that player falls down, that's tripping. Even if you didn't mean to, you're responsible for your stick in hockey. And so a stick goes under a player, that player with the stick is going into the box for tripping for 2 minutes. But if they believe, if the officials subjectively believe that you embellished, that you waved your arms, that you fell when you didn't need to draw the penalty, you are also going to the box for 2 minutes.
That would be huge in basketball.
I love it. I love the embellishment. I don't like it when it happens to my stars, and it does occasionally. But overall, I love the idea of embellishment being just as harsh a penalty. I don't know how you would do it in basketball. Like, the whole game would be free throws. Like, okay, you get your 2 free throws because, yes, you got penalized, but then we're going down here and they're shooting 2 free throws because, you didn't need to wave your arms dramatically and fall over.
Yeah, make them go to the bench for 2 minutes.
Oh, man. 2-minute penalties in basketball would be huge.
That would be huge. Yeah, that's what I say. Make them go to the bench. They don't have to play a man short like I believe they do in hockey, right?
They do in hockey. I love it.
And basketball, don't make them play a man short because that would be too much of an advantage. But, if you have your star player having to go to the bench for a mandatory 2 minutes because of embellishment, then, that would take care of that.
Crazy. Be crazy.
It's just ridiculous how much they do it, though. It's not fun as a fan to watch that crap.
No, it's not. It's not fun at all. Everybody accepts that watches NBA basketball that the officiating is not good. For whatever reason, we've just accepted that. I don't think we should have. I think we should have been a little more demanding on officials about 20 years ago. But we allowed this to happen, and so the officials are just bad in basketball. It's the worst officiated of the professional sports, and we've allowed that. We've let that happen. Okay, fine, but that doesn't matter. It's usually pretty balanced. It's usually bad officiating against both teams.
Both ways.
You see what happens to your team, but I guarantee you, because I've been watching some of these Spurs games. There are things happening that are getting called poorly for Oklahoma City too. You just don't see it that way because you're a fan, and you should be a fan, and you should be biased, and all of those things. Unfortunately, the bad calls come usually pretty even for both teams. And basketball, more than any, has a way of working itself out. Over a 7-game series or even over the history, you see these things work themselves out. I watched the Dallas Mavericks lose a championship to the Miami Heat when they had no business losing. They should have been the champions in 2006. It absolutely should have been a Dallas Maverick championship. It was not. There were bad calls. Dwayne Wade played out of his mind on those last 4 games in 2006. Shaq became the Shaq of old for 4 games and never did again, but he did during that series. And Dallas got robbed. Some bad calls. I could tell you, I still remember them vividly. It doesn't matter. 5 years later, a Dallas Maverick team that had no business even being in the finals played against the Miami Heat, a team that should have run over everybody in the NBA because that was the first year of LeBron, Bosh, and Wade. And Dallas somehow won their one championship in 2011. It has a way of working out. I didn't want to wait 5 years for it. I did. And so those things in basketball just kind of have a way of working out. No other way I could explain it. You feel good? 2-2 this series? You feel good?
Well, say what you will about SGA this game, and there's a lot of frustrations, but do I feel good? I feel good in the sense of I feel good where this team is at right now.
Mm-hmm.
They could win this series, but they could also lose this series. And I think if they lose this series, Spurs fans shouldn't be mad.
Nope.
They're playing a 7-game series against the champions, the best team in the league, and they could win this series, which says a lot about a young team that they can even challenge them. They've been blowing through everybody else. So I think it's exciting as a Spurs fan that we're, in this, and it's a real challenge, and we could actually win this, because where the Spurs are right now, that trajectory has just started going up, and it's going up at a very, very steep incline. Like this team is going to be dominant. Sorry about your Dallas Mavericks, but
we'll be there. We'll get there.
Yeah, I don't know how. But this team is going to be dominant for years to come. I truly believe that. And if they don't win it this year, no big deal. They're going to win it next year. So
the most important thing about this series, and the reason Spurs fans should feel good, is not only have you won 2 games against one of the best teams in the league, maybe the best team in the league, but both of those games you won, you did not barely win. You owned the entire game from beginning to end of game 1 and game 4. The Spurs were in control.
Well, game 1 took 3 overtimes, but they were
in
control. They were more in control of that game than the Thunder ever were. Yes, I agree.
Right. They were in the driver's seat. The Thunder did some amazing stuff there in the fourth quarter and made it a game. But they were in control of game 1, in my opinion. And I watched that game, and I watched the game last night, and man, from tip-off to the end, the Spurs were in control. Never letting off the gas. And the fact that you can do that to one of the best teams in basketball means that you belong there. This is not an accident. This is not an aberration. You belong where you are. And if you make it to the finals, you belong there. And if you win the finals, you belong there. This is not an accident. I will freely admit that the one championship the Dallas Mavericks have is inexplicable. I still feel that way. I do not understand how that 2011 team with Kidd and Tyson Chandler and an aging Dirk Nowitzki won the championship that year. I don't get it. Like, they did, and you can't take it away from them, but I don't know how it happened. You won't feel that way. No matter where the Spurs end this season, you'll go, no, they belong there. They are one of the teams that belong in that conversation. So, and Chase, that's most importantly, they beat the Lakers in the playoff. That's important. Beating the Lakers.
Beating the Lakers is always good.
Always.
Lakers and Rockets. I can never choose which team I want to root against more, but they're definitely the top 2 teams I like to root against.
Raul Nava, how good would Luka, Cooper, Kyrie, and Clay team be? You're breaking my heart. Hey, it wouldn't have happened that way. Like, it wouldn't have happened that way. If they'd have kept Luka and not traded Luka, they do not end the season in absolute terrible and wind up with the number 1 pick with Cooper. Like, that just doesn't happen. I know there's a lot of Mavericks fans right now that are like, hey, Kid's gone and Nico's gone and there's all new people there. Maybe we can convince Luka to come back to the Mavericks. It's not happening. It's not happening. The Lakers can offer him more money than anyone else can, and they will. And he'll take it because it's more money. And in the end, more money is important. So, yeah, it's not happening. He's got a house here in Dallas. He wants to come back. No, he doesn't. Promise you he doesn't. He wants to make as much money as he can while he has a career. And so he's going to be a Laker, as far as I can tell. And that hurts me, but it is what it is. Hey, the Smoking Guns podcast is a podcast about football.
Yep.
You may not have known that over the last 20
Mostly,
minutes, but it is
right?
mostly football. We talk all things San Antonio and whatever we're enjoying. And you know what? RC's not here to get us back on track. So this is really her fault.
Yes.
We are brought to you by some amazing people. Those people are Robert Seco, Mo and Iris Ferrante, James Palmer, Jessica Palmer, Jordan Stubing, Kim and Greg Nelson. They are spectacular people who help us pay the bills on the show because we do have bills to bring you this amazing content about the San Antonio Gunslingers and Spurs and tacos. They help that happen and help us pay the bills. Also, we take a little bit of that money, what's left over, and we send kids to camp. There is a cheer camp coming up on June 6th. There's a teen camp for 12-year-old and up, and then there is a kids camp for 4, 6. How old are the little ones?
I think it starts at 3. I'm not sure.
Little kids.
That one up.
Also,
Yeah.
We have committed and partnered with the Gunslingers to make sure that anyone, any kid who wants to go to camp can go to camp. We will raise the money to make that happen. We have used our Patreon money. We have used donations from some of you, the listeners, and even made donations ourselves out of our pockets to make sure kids get camp in years past. And we will continue to do that through this partnership with the San Antonio Gunslingers to make sure any kid that wants to go to the 6-shooters camp or Gunslingers camp later in the summer has the opportunity to go. If money is the only reason they can't go to camp, we're going to make sure that they go to camp. And we thank those folks that are a part of that, and we offer the ability for you to be a part of that. If you want to be a part of our Patreon group, you just go to patreon.com, Smoking Guns Pod, that's smoking no G, guns with a Z, P-O-D, and you can sign up at a $5, a $10, or a $20 level, and you can help us make the show go and send some absolutely wonderful kids to
4 to 12.
absolutely wonderful opportunities. There you go.
I looked it up.
Old.
Yeah, for the kids' camp.
I think it said 4. I also said 6,
You did.
but I think I said 4.
You did.
And really, if it's 4 and up, then 4 and 6 are both in that number. So I was right. I was 100% right and not wrong at all. Yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Oh, sign up for camp if you have kids that want to go to camp. If you need help with that financially, reach out to us. That's the Smoking Guns Pod. We are on all of the social medias at Smoking Guns Pod, or you can email the show at smokinggunspod@gmail.com, and we will make sure we get you on the list. Leo, we have 3 kids signed up right now for the 6-shooters camp that we are taking care of, that we are helping get to camp. That's 3 kids that would not be able to enjoy this opportunity without these listeners that we just talked about, without the support of these folks. They wouldn't go. And they're going to go to camp on the 6th, and they're going to cheer at the game on the 13th. And that's because of those listeners. If you want to be a part of that, all you got to do is sign up. We would be happy to have you partner with us in that. Leo, it's going to be a tough couple of weeks, but we can get the wins. We can get one. We can get both. And then when we come home against New Mexico, we can absolutely get that win.
Take the nuns. We need the nuns to go on the road with the Gunslingers.
I think they're busy going to Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
I know that there are folks out there giving to GoFundMe's to get the nuns in Oklahoma City.
Yep.
No reason why not to. That was a great game, and if that's what it takes, I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious, as my mentor Michael Scott has told me. Yeah, get them there and get them to the Gunslinger games. Why not?
Yeah.
Let's start a GoFundMe for that too. Well, Leo, it doesn't matter if it's a win or a loss. It doesn't matter if they come out on top or they come out on the bottom. If you're looking for the best experience, an indoor football experience that a 2-year-old boy can go, enjoy, and be talking about for days afterwards. If you're looking for that kind of experience, you might find it in Austin one day. You might find something over in Arizona, in Prescott Valley, or Phoenix. It's bad luck to be superstitious. I agree. You might find it over in Jacksonville or maybe even up in Green Bay. But you will definitely find, when you're looking for the best indoor football experience, the 2-0 has got something to say. Bang, bang.
And the best tacos.
We didn't know what to do with the end there. Who's going to say the bang, bang?
I don't know. See what happens, RC?
We need RC. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us when we had our podcast here without RC that became about what did we talk about today? We talked about football. We talked about Kevin Guy. We talked about quarterbacks. We talked about basketball. We talked about the Mavericks and the Spurs and the Heat and the Lakers.
Potential NFL teams.
We talked about NFL. We talked about sports business overall. We talked about tacos and burritos. We talked about a lot tonight.
And we confirmed that the team is not for sale.
The team is not for sale. That was big. That's big.
Yeah, that's big.
Wherever you're hearing those rumors, you tell them I heard on the Smoking Guns podcast that is not true. Because it's not. The team is not for sale. Pamela Rackler has said so herself, and she would know.
She would know. Oh, yeah.
All right, folks. Please do us a favor and like and subscribe anywhere where you're listening or paying attention to this. And in the morning, when this episode hits the audio feed, if you'll just give us a download, you don't even have to listen to it because you spent your time here with us, either live or after the fact in video. But if you'll just download it to your phone and then erase it, that helps. It also helps if you like and subscribe, and if you do a little review, that would help us out a lot and get this out to more people. And more people means more ears and eyes on the Gunslingers, and we all want that.
That's
Thanks so much. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We will see you next week. Most of us will see you next week. And we will be watching on Friday night as the Gunslingers head up to the cold in Green Bay. I don't think it's that cold there right now. I mean, it's colder than here.
Colder than here.
Yeah. They head up to the cold of Green Bay and take on the blizzard. And we'll see what happens. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, guys.